I didn't feel like me or anyone that I knew was ever being represented in the media in terms of what it means to be Middle Eastern or what it means to be Muslim. I'm Alya Mooro. I'm an Egyptian-born, London-raised freelance journalist. My first book, The Greater Freedom, was released worldwide. It's part memoir, part cultural commentary. I wrote it for the 15-year-old version of me that would have had her whole life changed if she had been able to read something like this when she was growing up. I approached the book not from a place of certainty, but more from a place of curiosity. I interview a lot of other Middle Eastern women. I've got a lot of research in there, and it's essentially about all the things that I think as a Middle Eastern woman, but potentially even just as a woman, that we kind of have to deal with on a daily basis. Expectations of society and culture and religion sometimes that can kind of tell us who we should be and what we should want and how we should behave and how we should look. What has changed in writing the book is that I feel a lot more relaxed to not always need to live up to that expectation. I started off doing hip-hop journalism. Lil Wayne is like love of my life. Like, I wrote him letters when he was in jail. And I feel like you wouldn't automatically assume that looking at me. I also was like, oh, I actually really like fashion as well. So then I started to do that. None of us need to fit into a box. We are all such nuanced humans. Stories from people of color carry this burden of responsibility because there's so few of them. As I got older and I started to kind of feel the pull of both cultures, and I thought, you know, I have to tell this story because firstly I can, I'm a journalist, that's my job. My family are open-minded enough that they're gonna clap for me whatever it is that I do. And also I have this sort of bird's eye view of both cultures. I feel like I had imposter syndrome for a long time growing up. You know, I was like, I'm not really Arab, I'm not really Muslim. I'm really pleased at the response so far as well. It's just been incredible. There's one review on Amazon that I read. It was basically this woman being like, oh, but you're not really Arab. And I'm like, that's the whole point. Rebellion is really important. And actually, as children, you can see like children rebel from like 2 years old. They're like, nah, I'm not gonna do that, watch me. What's been really interesting now is I'm like, is there such a thing as too woke? Like, what happens if you like something and you can see the conditioning? Does that mean that you have to by force just not do that because you know where it's come from? There's no right or wrong answer. It's essentially the room that we have to make a choice, and for our choice to be rooted in ourselves. As I finished writing the book, I turned 30, and it felt like a real sort of shedding and closing of the chapter and kind of just, yeah, starting a whole new chapter where I really, really know myself. It allowed me to really unpick so many of the things that I had been told. We keep evolving and we keep changing, but I feel like for the questions that I had growing up, I've answered them. What I really want and what writing this book has unearthed for me is how important it is to just, you know, keep providing these narratives across many different mediums. I exist, we exist, and our stories are super important and super valid.